Welcome, sports fans. Thanks for joining me on another edition of Primetime Sports. I am your host, Caleb Johnson. Last weekend's spring football game did not disappoint. However, one absence on the field was noticed. Running back Taz Bateman was held out for obvious precautionary reasons after his concussion scare last week. Reporter Amber Smith updates us on Taz's condition and gives us a better understanding of concussions.
Running back Taz Bateman was injured during last week's practice. He told only Primetime Sports that he, quote, is doing well. Suffering only a minor concussion, he says he was knocked down by defenders, colliding into him, causing him to suffer a head injury. You may have noticed Bateman was not out on the field at the spring game, and it's with a reason. Any player who suffers a concussion has to undergo a number of steps before returning back to the field. Sports medicine director Bob Murphy tells Primetime the details.
In our world, a concussion is a mild traumatic brain injury, typically the result of either a blow to the head, it could be from another player, the ground, or a piece of equipment, or it could result from a force to the body that sends impulsive force up to the brain. The reason concussions occur, there may not be structural damage in a concussion, but it may disrupt just the normal physiology of the brain and how it functions compared to a normal. If we determine somebody has a concussion or even thinks they have a concussion, they're going to be out for a good bit. It used to be when I started back in the late 90s, when I kind of started working as an athletic trainer. It used to be if they feel fine within 15 minutes, you can send them back. But anymore, we're much more cautious with it. We know a lot of times the symptoms may not show up until longer than that after the injury. We know a lot of times the athletes may not be as forthright as they need to be with how they're feeling because they want to stay on the field, they want to play.
But next week, Bateman sits down with Primetime Sports to discuss his personal life and his road to recovery from his injury. For Primetime Sports, I'm Amber Smith.
Thanks, Amber. Well, reporter Jared Oliver was one of many media members looking to see what kind of talent GSU football will put out onto the field this fall. Based on what he saw Saturday, Jared recaps the game and gives us Coach Miles' thoughts on the scrimmage.
Football season is almost back. As you can see, Pounce hanging out and taking some pictures with the kids on the field. Trent Miles is hoping to ride last year's momentum after making their first bowl game appearance. Sophomore quarterback Aaron Winchester driving the field on the first series of the game. Running back DeMarcus Kirk laying the wood on a couple of defenders. Kirk pushing for that starting job considering all the running backs they have. Next play, Winchester finishes the drive with a touchdown pass to Kyler Neal. The white squad goes up 7-0. A couple of series later, the white squad threatening to score again following this tough catch by Montavious Scott. Next play, Winchester connects with Montavious Scott for the jump ball touchdown. White squad goes up 14-3. Montavious nearly unstoppable with 2 touchdown catches on the day. Transfer quarterback Connor Manning looking to find some rhythm on the blue squad with this pass, but the drive eventually came to a halt after a failed 4th down conversion. Next drive, Winchester yet again dropping it in the basket with this throw to Montavious Scott, again on the touchdown. Next series, Aaron Winchester is just showing out now. 3 passing touchdowns and 1 on the ground. This one was all white squad as they win 26-3. Coach Trent Miles discusses his quarterback's performance on today's game.
It'll still be a battle going through camp and through fall practice and all the way up to the first game.
I think I did well. I think I was in the great rhythm, especially from the previous scrimmages. The game slowed down. It was really slow for me today, and I think I was in the great rhythm all day.
Man, Aaron, we got a good big brother, little brother relationship. Since he was a freshman last year, we just built that chemistry from last year. So, we kind of built off each other.
Here at Panthersville Stadium in Decatur, Georgia, I'm Jared Oliver, Primetime Sports.
Thanks, Jared. Well, Coach Miles kept up his busy schedule on Monday as he and other coaches, alongside athletic director Charlie Cobb, held a spring tour at the 755 Club at Turner Field. Coach Miles, women's basketball coach Sharon Baldwin-Tenner, and men's basketball coach Ron Hunter sat on a panel to answer fans' questions and talk about their respective programs. Tuesday began on a positive note for women's golf as the team tied for 4th place at the Sun Belt Conference Tournament. Freshman Jemima Gregson carried this team with a score of 78. Unfortunately, the Lady Panthers finished 7th in that Sun Belt tournament. Many of GSU's sports teams were acknowledged at the Sun Belt Tournament banquet this week, and that included 5 awards from men's tennis. Apart from players being recognized, Coach Brett Ross was honored as Men's Tennis Coach of the Year for the entire Sun Belt Conference. The Panthers received a 1 seed for the weekend conference championships and will begin tournament play tomorrow. Women's tennis was also honored at the Sun Belt banquet, where 3 Lady Panthers were given all Sun Belt honors. Second-year coach Jason Marshall was awarded Women's Tennis Coach of the Year. Women's tennis is currently in competition at the Sun Belt Championships, and last that I heard, they won their doubles set this morning. So big props to tennis here all around at Georgia State, as they have produced very successful seasons this spring. It was a great week for head coaches at GSU, as beach volleyball head coach Beth Van Fleet was named the brand new Coastal Collegiate Sports Association Coach of the Year. What a mouthful. At that, 5 of GSU beach volleyball athletes were also awarded with postseason honors. Notice I said GSU because we all know GSU stands for Georgia State University. A report that came out this week released that might be even more clear to the public. Reporter Joey Redmond fills us in on those details.
Have we seen the end of a significant portion of a 100-year rivalry? Big news, as according to Brian Stone from UnderdogDynasty.com, Georgia Southern University has now prohibited the use of the call letters GSU and are changing their letters to exclusively GS. According to Stone's article, it is speculated that this motivated change comes from the fact that Georgia Southern University is frustrated with people confusing them for Georgia State University, as both universities share the same call letters, GSU. Stone quotes an email sent from inside the Georgia Southern Athletic Department that reads, quote, "The terms Georgia Southern University and Georgia Southern are university trademarks, and their use should also adhere to all standards of trademark use. Use of GSU is prohibited. Simply use GS on second reference if needed." End quote. It would appear that the all-popular hashtag #TheRealGSU may have seen its last days, especially if Georgia Southern decides to continue to enforce this new policy. There has been no official word from Georgia Southern as of yet, but if any new information surfaces, we will be sure to let you know. For Primetime Sports, Joey Redmond.
Thanks, Joey. This change by, that team down south will hopefully clear up any confusion and cement us here at Georgia State as the real GSU. Softball here at the real GSU was on the rise this week, carrying a 5-game win streak into Athens to take on 12th-ranked UGA. However, the Lady Panthers could not carry that momentum into the game and were defeated 8-0. Speaking of the number 8, men's baseball is trying to climb back into the 8th seed to make the conference tournament play. They face off in a 3-game series against Appalachian State, with the first game beginning tonight at 6 p.m. in Panthersville. That's all for this episode of Primetime Sports. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel to get all of the latest Georgia State sports news. Like us on Facebook at Primetime Sports and follow us on Twitter at Prime Sports. And make sure you add that Z. I'm Caleb Johnson, and I'll see you back here next Friday. Take care.